Hi, so I'm going to talk about the Noble Eightfold Path and how it appears as one in one moment, one thought moment. Okay, so we can expand like these three aspect into eight aspect and to one thought moment. Okay, so how does this work? So this session is I'm jumping the gun. It's more suitable for people who have tasted certain levels of samadhi, stillness of mind, who may have seen the 12 links of dependent origination even, and understand karma, and understand what is right thought. So if you haven't really tasted this in your meditative practice, this session may not be for you. So for instance, right, in right action, when you are, for example, in the midst of going into your office stationery shop, and then you think, oh, I want to take this for myself and bring it home, right? I think many of us do that, right? We often take what is not ours and claim our right to it and think it's okay, right? But at the moment you start to think, okay, I'm taking what is more than required or what is not mine, I'm bringing it home, I'm not using it for the office. How is this bad? This is bad. Maybe you could have bad conscience, because if you can do it for your office supplies, that means you may have no qualms taking other people's possessions. And when you take other people's possessions, it makes them suffer. And when they suffer, when we say heaven and hell in Buddhism, when someone suffers in depression or anger, they're actually in that moment suffering in hell, because that is what hell feels like. Burning with anger, like fire of anger, or depression where you're sinking into cold depths of ice or whatever, right? Feeling, tired, right? So these are like hell states of mind. So when you do this to another, I mean, there could be um repercussions for that, such as bad conscience. Or if you can do this to others, others can do this to you. So how do you arrive at such thought? First, there was the reading of the Buddha's discourses to bring you to right understanding, which is wisdom. And then, of course, then if you read regularly these reflections, then the discourses, then naturally it becomes a habit to reflect, and right effort will come in that moment to make you, think, oh, is this a skillful action, right? Is this a skillful thought, right? So how does right thought come into this moment? This thought means you're not skillful, you're not having compassion or integrity for your businesses possessions, right? What they own, okay, their assets. And you also can have right thought for compassion for yourself. The fact that you witness this part of your mind, even though you're not labeled a thief, but what you're doing is not really different from pilfering what is not yours. Then have compassion for this habit that has existed, that has caused suffering without you knowing. Okay, then there's right thought. Okay, and then you put the stationery back in place, that's right livelihood, right? And you're able to achieve this, right, and have that moment of stillness because you have meditated and slow your discursive thoughts, okay, enough for you to notice that when you're reaching out to take something that's not yours. And that came with mindfulness and samadhi. Okay, so you see how all aspects okay, of the Eightfold Path accumulate in one thought moment, in one action. Okay, so actually don't see the Eightfold Path as separate thing. They're actually one whole thing, one thought moment in your mind. It is that powerful. So I'm going to jump the gun, okay, and talk about the jhanas. So the jhanas, if you're Buddhist, you would know this. The jhana states are, well, in the early Buddhist discourse, in the Theravada tradition, there are a lot of talk by the Buddha about what the jhana states are, how can it arise, and how it leads to nirvana itself. And jhana is called chan in Chinese, zen in Japanese, sion, if I pronounce correctly, maybe not in South Korea. Okay, so Zen or jhana are states of mind, okay, that is moving towards liberation. So there's a lot of talk about you shouldn't go into the jhana state, right? Jhanas will not liberate you, or there are talks from another side of, another school that says you must enter into jhana is the way out of samsara into liberation. So if you ask me, right, I don't care so much about the word jhana, but I do agree there are these states of mind. If you want to call them zen or jhana, go ahead. There are these states of mind. It's like a progression, right, of the mind being released, like a balloon, right, slowly letting off air, right, and then and it flies off. Okay, so there's that gradation that, of mind states that releases the mind, right? So just pure heart suppressing the mind, repressing the mind to stay in the present moment without this jhanic state is very, very suffering practice. Let me just say that. Okay, the Buddha did say he will allow himself one pleasure. What pleasure is that? Not material pleasure, but pleasures of the jhanas, which is indeed very pleasurable. And these pleasures arise from seclusion of the mind, not a discursive mind, not an attached mind to materiality, but a mind that has let go of the five aggregates, okay, that actually experiences these pleasures. So how does it have to do with the Noble Eightfold Path? Right? Let me explain, right? When you arise right effort and right understanding, you let go of greed, hatred, delusion, right? And then you put effort, right, into your meditation and self-reflection. Then there is also then you're also letting go of sloth and torpor. And also restlessness and worry. Why? Because you are also developing samadhi through your effort, through right thoughts, right? And right understanding. Okay, and then as you start to release, okay, your aggregates, five aggregates, and which naturally the five aggregates are related to this states of mind, right? Then you also release doubt, okay, right? You release them by sustained thought, right? Remembrance of the Four Noble Truths, remembrance of the Buddha, the 10 recollections, remember? Remembrance of the breath, okay? And letting go, right? Allow the in-breath to come and go. Allow thoughts of the Buddha to come and go. Even though you recollect them, it will come, you cease, you'll come, you cease. And then you just allow this entering and exiting, right? Through this sense of space in your whole body, right? Through the body scan, you stay present with your whole body. Then allow all these experiences, this vibration to come in and out of the body, thoughts to come in and out of the body, feelings to come in and out of the body. You're not hanging on to any of them, right? Then there is this one-pointedness of mind. So one-pointedness of mind does not mean that your mind is focused on one object like the breath. No. It simply means that the mind is united. It is not discursive, running into different sense doors. It is sitting with the whole body. The mind is very contentedly resting in the whole body right here and now without thoughts. That would be the end of sustained thought and applied thought, right? Then happiness arises. Rapture arises. Rapture is this very strong feeling that has to do with loving kindness. Love arises. Okay, love is a very strong feeling that you can feel in your heart area and your abdomen area. Arise, it moves up and down. Then there's this feeling of love, and you'll be very surprised. How come? Right? Your eyes are closed. It's not, your sense doors are not in contact with any sense object, and yet there is this rapture, there's this love arising in your heart, and it's very strong. And then later on, it comes down into this happiness. Okay, this happiness, right? The third jhana, this contentment, not discontentment, but you feel contentment, okay? Resting not one pointed, actually united. The mind is united, meaning your six sense bases are, your consciousness awareness is not going out of the six sense bases, is resting in the body, okay? Not distracted by the six sense doors, and is contentedly resting in your whole body, okay? That brings on, when that love comes down, becomes very subtle kind of love, loving kindness, and then later on it goes, into equanimity. How does it go into equanimity? Because this love in you, you realize, is in everyone. It is non-differentiated. But how silly of us to attach love to an object when love does not require an object to arise. That is equanimity. That's when you have unconditional love in the fourth jhana. Okay, so how does it have to do with the Noble Eightfold Path? Right? It's related. For my case, I feel it's right understanding and right thought. And especially the Mahayanis, they are most they share most about compassion. So they do a lot of service, right? Because selfless service arises compassion. And don't forget, compassion is one of the Brahma Viharas. It's the second of the Brahma Viharas, right? And what's the first is love. Actually, they're one thing, okay? Remember the Brahma Viharas, the session I went through? This Brahma Vihara, four sublime abidings, okay, are actually one. It's love. It's unconditional love. Through selfless service, love arises, become compassion. And when you sit in your meditation, this softness in your heart, okay, this openness, this selfless service you can give, right, which is also letting go of one thing, letting go of yourself, needing things the way things need to be. So of course, when you give service, you're also giving up, right, how your service need to have a result. Okay, when you can do that, that is truly selfless giving. And you have compassion or love arising. That's when you can, release and go up to the state of equanimity, right? So in the Theravada tradition, often the emphasis is on right understanding, and then right thought, they focus more on renunciation, because letting go, which is renunciation, is indeed very important, but they don't really talk so much about the Brahma Vihara that arise through renunciation, and they jump to mindfulness. So they sort of attribute, right, all these states of mind through mindfulness, through placing the mind on the body, because the body can only be present here and now, and it's through here and now that all these arise. So it becomes a sense where only when you are in a quiet retreat, when you can place your body in the present moment, when you can place your mind on your body in the present moment, then these states of mind can arise. So then, therefore, they say the jhanas are conditioned. But if you experience the jhana states, okay, through letting go, through selfless service, then these jhanas are not conditioned, because it's realized through letting go. Okay, but if it is realized through condition, being in a quiet retreat, just keep placing your mind on your body, right? And then when you come back home and these conditions are gone, then you realize that this pleasant abiding in your body, the one-pointedness, is also gone. Okay, because you just can't place your body, your mind on your body all the time when you're in living in a busy city, right? Okay, so I also want to add, since right thought compassion, right, is part of this, right, loving kindness, right, okay, that arises rapture. Therefore, it's possible to bring the jhanas into your daily life, speech, action, and livelihood. Okay, you can actually experience the first jhana and possibly the second jhana through speech, action, and livelihood. Really, frankly, then you could be asking, Maisie, but if you need applied thought and sustained thought, then how to have applied thought and sustained thought in your speech and action and experience this unconditional love in your heart radiating to everybody while you're in daily life, right? Being secluded and present in your whole body, which is the experience of the fourth jhana, equanimity. Actually, it's possible. And it is possible when you have devotion. That is why I went through the session on devotion. That is the importance of devotion. That's why the Tibetan Buddhists emphasize so much on devotion. That's why in the Christian tradition, devotion leads them also into the jhana states, just that they don't use the same words, okay, as the Buddhists do. But they're expressing the same thing. And the Hindus say, your nature is naturally blissful, right? It's naturally blissful, you see. It's naturally love. is naturally aware and in the present moment. That's why they say that if you have devotion, okay, you naturally will be it will be naturally very easy for you to adopt right thought, right compassion, okay, and for you to have a balanced mind, okay, the fourth jhanic state, okay. You can allow the first two to arise in your daily living and it will fade off due to the activities of life, but it will also bring you to equanimity. Why? Because you realize that love is unconditional. Everybody has it. Just so sad, and this is the compassion part, so sad. Everybody is trying to search for it outside of them. Okay, that is the real tragedy in our world. All right, so that's all I want to say in this lesson. Thank you very much. And if you have anything to add on, well, just add in the comments. That's all. Thank you.